Have you ever wondered what 15 Lego cars look like when they're not put together? Well, here it is. It's about 4,000 pieces, and I had to design them, gather all the parts, and build all the cars in about a week. This is New Hashima and Neo Atlanta. It's a massive cyberpunk futuristic city that's a huge collaborative build between dozens and dozens of Lego creators. On the right is New Hashima. It travels across the country from convention to convention. On the left is Neo Atlanta, a brand new build for this year's Atlanta BrickCon. The easiest way to tell the difference between the two cities is that Neo Atlanta has giant potholes, while the roads in New Hashima are nice and well kept. And this year they were in serious need of cars. It took 2 days of setup where every second counted. Just to give you an idea of how many people it took to put this together, here's this year's crew. Sports ball! Yeah, we yelled sports ball. I didn't really get it, but it was fun either way. There was also a weird thing with Mountain Dew Baja Blast. It's kind of an inside joke that I was a part of, but didn't understand the meaning. But I was thirsty, and a Mountain Dew sounded pretty good. Really, everyone was great. It was amazing to be in a group of such talented builders. And here I'm going to show you my small contribution to the build. Really, they did all the work with the buildings and everything. I just did some little cars. But the first thing I had to do after designing all the cars and gathering all the parts was build them. I hope you like looking at my knees, because you're going to see them for the next minute. This took about 12 hours over the course of 2 days, and my table wasn't big enough for a project this big, so I had to do it old school and get down on the floor and build everything. My knees hurt after I was done. I felt like an old man. I was lucky that I've designed so many cars, because I don't think I could have pulled this off given the time crunch if I didn't already have a bunch of vehicles to kind of base the designs on. All 14 vehicles that I built for New Hashima were based on cars that I had already designed. Some of them were recolors, some of them had a lot of changes that I think were really cool, and I'll show you those in a minute. Next year I'll have some that are specifically made for New Hashima that I'll bring, if they'll have me back. So after I got done building, I packed everything up and hit the road. I did end up bringing about another 40 or 50 cars that I had already had made that I kind of thought might fit in that cyberpunk sort of vibe, but most of the cars that I make are regular street cars, so they might have stood out a little bit in the cyberpunk city. And here's where my footage before and during the convention ends. It was my first convention, so I was a little overwhelmed and I didn't take enough video, or any quality video really at all. So if you want to see some highlights from Atlanta BrickCon, I definitely recommend looking it up on YouTube. Beyond the Brick has some really good videos. Mark of Fallworth has a really good video about it. So does Solid Brick Studios. There's plenty of other footage from the convention that you can check out that honestly would have been better than anything I would have captured anyway. But that does mean I can go ahead and get to showing you the cars. Here they are, all in one place. And I'm not going to be doing tutorial videos for these, but I will release the PDF instructions on my Patreon page, so if that's something you're interested in, consider joining. I'd love to see you over there. Alright, first up is this Rolls-Royce Phantom that I completely redesigned. I ended up adding a whole nother set of wheels to the front of it. I saw a really cool car that looked like this online. I googled cyberpunk cars and something like this popped up. It was actually kind of funny. One of the other guys that was there brought another car that was very similar. It was the same color scheme and everything. We talked about it. We probably looked at the same Google image. Next up is another six-wheeler. This one was a Monte Carlo that I ended up adding another row of wheels to. It was funny, when I was building these, I actually ran out of frictionless pins, so I had to use the black ones that don't roll, and these weren't going to roll anyway in the city, but it was still kind of silly. I never thought I'd run out of that piece. And I already took most of the minifigs out, but this one I kind of had as a Craven the Hunter car. This is a 5th Gen Mustang that I did quite a bit of work on. Added a ladder thing on the back of it to hold the siren and a spoiler. Added some weird pipes and exhaust to the back of it. Also did some work on the hood as well. I even changed the headlights in the front a little bit to make it look a little meaner. It's being driven by a robot who's probably sitting a little low. But that's okay, I actually really like this one. I wish I had some decals for it though. Alright, this F-150 is a straight up recolor, but I really like the color scheme on it. It's cool, it kind of reminds me of a futuristic beach patrol or something. Plus I figured in a cyberpunk city in the future or something, F-150s would definitely still exist. And I really like this model anyway. The truck bed gap is really cool, and I think the shaping of it's pretty good too. It's probably one of the best trucks I've done. In fact, there's a tutorial video of an orange version of it if you want to build it yourself. And here's one of my favorites, a Volkswagen bus with a punk band playing on top of it. I really like this mock, it's awesome. And there'll definitely be Volkswagen buses in the future. and I use minifig hands as the door handles, one of my favorite little details. But I really like the amplifiers and the band playing on top of it. They're all really cool submodels that I really like, and I was happy to use them in a kind of unusual way. The inside's empty because nobody was going to see that anyway. My original design for this is actually based off of the Creator Series Volkswagen bus, so that one has a full interior. I saved a lot of time and parts by not actually doing that in this one too. I had this one set up as the band for some dancers that were in the city. Next up is another recolor, but it's a really cool recolor. It's a Daytona SP3. I originally had it just black and orange, but I couldn't find the Monster Jam set with the orange panel piece on it. So I ended up having to use the panel piece from the Gravedigger, which had kind of a lime green flame on it. But I think that color accent actually looks really good with the orange and the black. I had Kermit the Frog driving it in the city, because I'm kind of basic and he's lime green. But this is one of my favorite little details from it is the mirrors. It's 1.5 antenna pieces put together. So 2 antenna bases, and then the antenna itself, you kind of have to turn the antenna backwards on one of the bases and then push the other antenna piece on there. It takes a little bit of pushing, but it'll go through there just fine. But I really just like the way this one looks in general. I built it in red originally, but I really like this color scheme. Next is a Volvo 850, another recolor. I added a little bit of extra detail with like the little pipes on the side of it, and I changed the back a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing. I was missing a dark red piece right here, but it didn't really matter. The cars were such a small part of the city anyway, nobody's really gonna notice, and nobody said anything. Alright, next up we got this 6th Gen Mustang. I really like the color scheme on this. Just looks cool, the yellow and the black with the little hazard stripes. I changed a little bit around, but not too much from the original design. But I really like this one. It looks very futury to me. Alright, gonna fix the spoiler on this one. This one I really like actually. It's Magnum PI meets Blacktron. The yellow and the black stripes look really cool together. It's a Ferrari 308 with a really cool color scheme. I really like the yellow interior, and I built a nice spacey spoiler for it too. Even added some trans red bricks to it to give it that full Blacktron look. That one might be my favorite. How about y'all? And next up is this C4 Corvette. Very similar color scheme to the Ford Mustang from a second ago, but dark blue. But I still really like this one. And the taillights especially, I think they look great. I also really like the blacked out wheels on it. I think it really makes it look good. The next one is kind of a two-tone Challenger. Kind of looks like it'd be the Joker or Two-Face's car. The front here has a really interesting connection too. It uses 2 of the one ring pieces to hold the bumper in place. But this is just one of my favorite muscle car mocks, and I wanted to bring some muscle cars to New Hashima, so this is the one I chose to do. I really like it. I'm glad I did. Next up is this Countach. I made some significant changes to this one. I ended up widening the rear from 6 studs wide to 7 studs wide in order to use those rounded mudguards, but the connection with the wheels is a little loosey-goosey now. But since it wasn't going to be rolling around anyway, I didn't worry about it too much. I really like this one. I even added some greebles to the back of it. And believe it or not, this isn't a Bugatti, it's a Huracan. I also made a lot of changes to this mock. I ended up, again, going from 6 to 7 studs wide at the back. The interior has a little hole on the top. There was a guy hanging out the front of it. I made the side vents real exaggerated, and the back is really cool too. I really like this. And finally, probably the coolest one, a purple DeLorean. Have you ever seen anything as cool as a purple DeLorean before, driven by an old school Luke Skywalker minifig? No. Really cool mock. This one looks great in gray, but it looks especially cool in purple. And I really liked using that trans orange windscreen piece. But that's all the New Hashima cars that I made specifically for the show. What did you think? Which one was your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. It was a huge honor to be invited to collaborate with the New Hashima and Neo Atlanta folks. I had never been to a convention before, and they made me feel right at home, so thank you. I even got featured in the Beyond the Brick video about the project. Technically.
Do you have any favorite vehicles over here on the roads at all in this section? Anything that stands out to you?
I like the Cadillac with the four wheels in the front over there. I think it's awesome. That's my favorite.
Thanks, Brian. Very cool. And thank you so much to Fleebnork for letting me use the photos at the beginning of the video. John for thinking of me when it came to building the vehicles and introducing me to everyone. Stefan for putting the whole thing together. Brian for making sure I was always busy greebling during setup. Meredith for being so welcoming and helping me not feel like a total stranger to a bunch of strangers. Spitzbriggs for hooking me up with those red mudguards that I've been looking for. Simon for introducing me to the sweet new world of Canadian candy. And there's too many other people to name, really. The whole crew was awesome. I'm going to link as many people as I can find social media down in the description, so go follow everyone. They were all awesome folks, with a variety of really cool, unique building styles that I think y'all would really like. Tell them something nice and tell them I sent you. And thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more like it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want instructions for all of the cars in this video, and everything else, consider joining my Patreon page. I'd love to see you over there. There's 4 levels of support, including a free one. Top tier Patreons get access to hundreds of PDF instructions, and exclusive access to all of the vehicles featured in this video. Thank you again for watching, and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, especially Stan, Zach, Wes, and Jim. I'll see you in the next one.